Hey, everybody. It's Kim Love Jones here, certified life and relationship coach. Just wanted you all to, I just wanted to get on here tonight and talk about these red flags and how do you recognize them. Because I think that a lot of times we don't recognize the fact that there are a lot of red flags and we overlook them. But if we are going to correct our behavior, if we are going to do all the things that God wants us to do or have a healthy relationship or be who we are called to be, then we cannot continue to ignore the red flags that we actually see. So I wanted to talk about the red flags. And before I begin that, I just wanted everybody to know that I am having and hosting at the Platowish Park Catering Hall. I am hosting an Unlocking Your Love workshop. It is going to be absolutely amazing, and we are expecting vendors to come through, selling everything from journals to, oh my goodness, to books, Avon. It's a few vendors that are showing up. So it's going to be really, really nice. The tickets are $97. There are no more VIP tickets left. I would love for y'all to come out and be a part of this Unlocking Your Love workshop. It is going to be absolutely amazing. I am so excited. I am excited. I am excited. And I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. Amazing, amazing. Yeah, it is. I'm posting this in my group, and yeah, I'm posting this in my group. Yeah, I am so excited. Hi, I see you watching. I see you watching. Hello, 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 everybody. Thank you for watching. Yes, I want to talk about recognizing red flags. Some of the things that we should recognize as we are on this journey to meet and date and court and get married to the person that we desire, right? So I want to talk about this tonight. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing and dope. And yeah, hold on a second. I got to turn the volume down on my phone because I can hear it. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to talk about it. Oh, and I want everybody to watch on Monday nights on Protected Class. This week we are having this gentleman who is a biophysical uh biophysical a biophysician or something, and he's going to be talking about the different things we could do to heal, right, our bodies, right, the different things that we could do. So that's going to be nice. And me and Najib Smith, we're going to be doing a Protected Class show. It's going to be absolutely amazing, right? And yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm very excited about that. So yeah, so let's talk about recognizing these red flags. Let's talk about it. um some of the things that I know that both men and women do, even though I'm talking to my sisters. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but I have been talking to my sisters a lot lately. Hey, Stephen, how you doing, Stephen? I see you. How are you? It's good to see you. I'm glad you're watching. I haven't seen you on in a long time. Right. So some of the things that we need to do is, if you're going to recognize the red flags in a relationship, that's good, babe. I'm glad that you're doing good. I'm so glad that you're doing good. It really is good to see you because I haven't seen you. So this is good. This is good. But recognizing the red flags in a relationship, and once again, I'm talking to my brothers and my sisters. Although I might talk a little bit more to my sisters because I think sometimes my sisters just don't be paying attention to what be going on. Say hello, say hello. I see you watching. Say hello. So I know that for women, we want to be in relationships. We want to get married. We want to have love. We want to be loved, right? And I realized that this is a big deal for us because We want to be protected. We want to feel safe. We want to be in right relationship. We want to honor how we really feel. And we don't just want to be out here all willy-nilly and being in any relationship with any old body, right? But part of the reason why we struggle so much is because we ignore the red flags. And men are better at not ignoring them than women are. While some men do ignore the red flags, more than likely it is my sisters that are ignoring them. And if I could be perfectly honest with you, there are times when I know that my sisters are settling for less than they deserve. They just are. And it's the truth, right? And if you're settling for less than you deserve, that's a problem. You know, I know brothers, they will date down in a minute and they won't think anything of it because they realize that they, you know, are the providers, the protectors, and they do this. But women will date a man who doesn't provide, protect, or do any of the things that men should do in a relationship that a good man does. I can't tell y'all what a man is supposed to do. And can I be honest? Because I am not a man. I am a full blown woman, right? So I don't know what a man, I do know what a man is supposed to do, right? But I cannot tell you how men arrive to their manhood. And that's the truth. I really cannot tell you, but what I can tell you is if you want a good man looks like to me, and I'm sure to a lot of other women, a man who is evolved mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and he's clear about what he wants and what he needs for his life. He's not out here playing games with anybody. And he's not trying to open up gifts that don't belong to him. He's looking for the person who's going to help him get to the next level in his life. Boy, I needed some water. So when I think about that, I think that women get so hurt and brokenhearted a lot of times because we will let things skate by. We will let a man breadcrumb us. You know, he'll start off good and wonderful, and then after a while, he'll start to pull back and he'll go back and forth and he'll play, games and we'll ignore it, right? And we end up settling for a lot less than we deserve. That's a huge red flag. It's huge. If a man is not consistent and he is not loving you the way that you deserve to be loved, then that is a problem. If a man does not show up with the same respect, the same admiration, the same tenacity that he did in the beginning, and it's been a month and he is falling off, he's not it. And no matter how wonderful and handsome and incredible of a person he is, he doesn't want you. And there's nothing that you can do to make him want you because when a man wants you, he is going to stay consistent. And it is the same for if a woman wants a man. It absolutely is. It looks different. It renders a little bit different, but it is the same. If a woman wants a man, she going to do the most for him because she's really feeling him. Our problem is we really want the ones who are not giving us all the things that we need in order for us to present ourselves as the feminine women that we ought to be. Because then we start pursuing, and when you are pursuing, you are in your masculine energy. Because women don't pursue or chase. The flowers do not chase the bees, honey. The flowers do not chase the bees. That is going to be my new saying for 2025. I love that, right? But it is vitally important, and I really mean this, that we understand the red flags so that we don't keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. And that's for both men and women. Have you ever met somebody and that person, You can talk to them about anything when you're laughing and you're joking and you're having a good time. But the minute that you allow yourself to be just a little bit vulnerable, they almost can detach from you because they don't want to share anything intimate or anything that's really deep with you. They want to keep it on the surface level. That's a red flag. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm telling you, I'm keeping it real. Some people are just emotionally unavailable for you. They cannot give you what you need. And it's unfortunate because a lot of times we'll try to help people to open up to talk to us. And the reality of the situation is not everybody is able to open up to you because they're afraid. And sometimes people will run away from you because they are so close to you, because they do care about you, and they are, but they don't want to open up. They will not allow themselves to be vulnerable, right? And so if and in fact that is a problem, then you have to watch who you are lining up with, right? You cannot be in a relationship with somebody who does not open up to you, who does not speak to your heart, who does not allow themselves to be vulnerable. Like, it can't be a one sided thing. That means that they are not trying to be in a healthy, happy relationship, and that they can have some hard conversations with you and not run away. A lot of people do that because they fear true intimacy. And it's unfortunate, because that's what we all crave and that's what we all need. But there are some people who literally cannot allow themselves to be that open. And so they run and they hide and they won't get into anything deep. They'll stay on the surface, if you will, right? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Um, I'm sorry, y'all. Yes, 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 yes. So they will, if you are not careful, hear me when I tell you about recognizing the red flags and people being emotionally unavailable to you, it can cause you an even bigger problem than you ever thought. I'm telling you, it's a huge red flag. It's a huge red flag. Let me ask you. Somebody sent this to me. Make America Pray Again, right? Somebody, I got it in the mail. I don't know who sent it to me. I am like, somebody mailed me this hoodie, like, and it's so dope. Make America Pray Again. I don't like to make America because y'all know that implicates, but whatever. It's pray again, right? And so I absolutely love it. And they sent it to me from the God is Dope website. And they make these nice hoodies. I usually wear my red God is Dope hoodie. But I couldn't believe that. Hey, Nene, I see you, my love. I love you, sis. Yeah. And somebody sent this to me, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is so dope. Make America Pray Again, right? And I finally put it on. So I like it. And I had it for like a week, but I don't know who sent it to me. And they bought it on Valentine's Day. So it could be some secret admirer I don't know about. I'd like to believe that. I don't know about him though, so I don't know how dope it is, but whatever. Right, 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 right. Okay. So the other part about being in a relationship with people who are unavailable, and this is so serious, is you almost feel like it's something wrong with you because you crave closeness and vulnerability, and you crave it, right? Because I think we all want to be with somebody who wants to be with us as much as we want to be with them. I love you too, honey. You know I love you, Nene. You know I love you. And so it's dangerous and it's a huge red flag when they can't open up to you, when they can't say to you, like, I'm feeling you, when they can't say to you, like, I'm hurting or I don't feel good, when they can't tell you and open up and talk to you, when they hide parts of themselves, the relationship from the beginning is doomed. And I'm just being honest, that's a huge red flag. It's huge, right? Because you can't be with people who don't want to open up. It doesn't work in the long run. And so if you don't want to deal with the fact that that's a huge red flag, that's going to fall on you. And that's real talk because it's huge. It's like a big, giant neon flashing light, like telling you to go back, go back, go back, right? And so you have to pay attention to that. One of the other red flags in a relationship is that as you enter in and you're in, you get in kind of deep, you feel like you're beginning to lose yourself, losing your identity, the things that you want, the things that you need, the things that you desire. Like me, I like to sew, right? So, and I'm just using this, I like to read and write too. So, if I begin to stop doing the things that I absolutely love, that's problematic when it comes down to being in a healthy relationship. Because being in a healthy relationship doesn't require that you become everything to that person and nothing to yourself. You have to use wisdom, but you also have to pursue. It's not healthy on your part to allow yourself to be so drawn in that you begin to abandon yourself, right? Because you're trying to please people, love on people. Hey, Shalonda, I love you. Nisi, hi, Wendy. Yes, you will begin to abandon yourself when you don't honor what you need for yourself. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Hear me when I tell you that you cannot ignore red flags. You can't. And sometimes the other red flags are that we would confuse chemistry with compatibility. When we do that, chemistry in this particular interest would be lust. Like I want to have some good, bumping and grinding, right? But compatibility says that we got staying power and we got a solid foundation by which we stand on. So sometimes we get it mixed up and we think that chemistry equals compatibility, and it doesn't. It really, really doesn't. Just because you got some sparks doesn't mean that you guys have core values that are in alignment with one another. That your belief system or your values are, you know, um, in alignment. And that's why you have to be in alignment with people. Your person, they're going to be in alignment with you. And that's the truth. It's not going to be a situation whereby you are out of alignment, meaning they don't even believe the same things that you believe. They don't want the same things that you want. That's a red flag. It's a huge red flag. And that's why we have to pay attention to these signs. The other one is allowing inconsistent behavior. In other words, they say they're going to show up at such and such time, but they don't. They say that they're going to do a thing, but they don't. And you notice that every time they say they're going to do this, that, and the other, they don't show up, right? They don't show up at all. And so you can't depend on them and you can't count on them but you keep allowing them to be in your space. You keep allowing them to show up in your life however they want to show up. They don't honor the relationship, they are not consistent. And when a person is not consistent, that is a huge red flag. And if their behavior is inconsistent, what can you do with them? How do you make that work? I can honestly tell y'all, and I really mean this. I match energy in my relationships, and that in all of them. If you call me, I'll call you back. If you don't call me, I'm not calling you back because I'm just as busy as everybody else. And I feel like friends, whether it's family, I don't care who it is. I'll make the first couple of phone calls to my cousins and my family down in the dirty. I'll call them and be like, hey, I love you. Just checking on you. I'll text them for their birthdays and I do all of that. If I notice a consistent pattern of them not doing the same, not reaching out to check on me, guess what Kim going to do? And I'm not trying to be funny because I love my family and I go visit them all the time, but I'm not going to keep doing that. I'm not dragging no relationship across the finish line. If you don't call me, and I hate to say it because I don't like the idea of matching energy. I like the idea of showing up and being my authentic self. But if I could be absolutely honest with you, if you don't call me, I'm not calling you back. I'm gonna call you and I will continue to do it. But when it comes down to allowing you to be inconsistent as per where you want to see this relationship go, if I notice that that's what you do, I'm going to be the same way. And I'm sorry because my time is valuable too, but I bet you I'm going to call my cousins. I bet you I'm going to pick up that phone and say, how you doing? I bet you I am. I bet you I am. Because I love you. And I want to make sure that you know that I love you. And so I'll check in once or twice, maybe once a month, once every 2 months. If I don't hear from you, I see you on Facebook, but we ain't start on Facebook, so we ain't gonna finish on Facebook. We gonna contact each other and talk to each other. How you doing? How you feeling? Is everything all right? How are the kids? If a person does not see you valuable enough to be consistent with you, family, friends, a love interest, listen to me, they are not. That's a red flag. It's a flag on the play. It's a flag on the play. Stephan, you said you just answered one of my questions. Amen. No, because you love your family, right? And you move mountains for them if something were to happen. And I know they would, right? If I needed them, I know they would be there. But if I'm the only one calling, come on now. Come on. I love y'all. But I'm not gonna be the only one calling. You gotta think you gotta feel for me just as much as I feel for you. And I know they love me like cooked food. That there's no question. But I incorporate the people who are important to me into my daily life. And if a person doesn't do that, then you're not in the top ranking 20, right? I don't gotta be in the top 10 as a cousin. I don't even gotta be in the top 10 as a sister, right? Or, I'm not a brother, but y'all get what I'm saying. But I do want to know that you are thinking about me sometimes, even if you just drop me a text. You understand? That's important. So now imagine what love interest is all about. Imagine that. If you don't make time for me, and you say you like me or you want to get to know me and I'm not a priority in your life, hey, Thomas, how are you? Oh my God, I'm so glad to see you here. I am so glad to see you here. Yeah. And you say that I'm important to you and I don't hear from you all day. You don't call a check on me. 2 or 3 days can go by. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. It's a flag on the play. And I'm gonna say this to my brothers. Women need to let y'all know how important you are to them as well. You ever had your kids? Sometimes the kids do this, not all the time. Depends on the relationship. The only time they call you is when they need some money. My kids don't call me, ask me for nothing. They really don't. They are very self sufficient. I need to be calling them and asking them, can I hold something? But anyway, my point is this: if a woman is only calling you when she needs something from you, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. Oh, she wants you to take her out to dinner. That's the only time she calling you. Red flag. It's a flag on the play. We're not doing that. She's not calling just to check on you and make sure that you're good and make sure that, you okay. No, she got to put in some work too. She got to show you in return and reciprocate what you're giving her. That's why I don't think men should lead with their wallet. They should lead with their intellect, their emotion, their vulnerability, and all these other, things. Leading with your money ain't gonna do nothing but make her want more of your money. And I'm just being, hi, Tisha, how are you, my love? How are you? I'm glad you're here, sis. I am glad you're here. Yeah, that's the only thing she gonna want is more money, cause you led with that. You ain't led with you didn't. If you don't lead with your character and with your integrity, then that's a problem. That's a huge problem. Hear me when I tell you. I don't, you know what, y'all? Somebody sent me this hoodie. I don't know who sent it to me. I've been asking everybody. It says "Make America Pray Again." I am like, who sent me this hoodie? I'm asking everybody. Like, I ain't sent it to you. I ain't sent it to you, Kim. And I just don't know who sent me this hoodie, but I love it. Black on black. I was like, okay, Al, thank you. Whoever sent it to me, thank you. Because I absolutely love this hoodie. I like hoodies in the wintertime. They're nice and cozy. But anyway, this goes for both men and women. You cannot ignore the red flags and expect that your life, you're going to have a healthy, wonderful, loving, kind relationship. I promise you it is not going to work if you, in fact, ignore them. You are just going down a rabbit hole and it's not going to work out well for you. And I only say this to my sisters and my brothers because I think a lot of times that's how men get hurt and women get hurt. And that's the truth. Yes, exactly. With their conversation. Yes, yes, yes. Tish, I'm going to put that up because I want that to stay in the forefront. Yes, thanks. Yes, men need to stop trying to get men with money and get women with their conversation and with their intellect, right? And their creativity. And then allowing a woman into your life and being able to have conversations with her. And sometimes not easy conversations. People say, Kim, you want me to be vulnerable? And this is for both men and women because men struggle with this. Let me tell you something. Being vulnerable does not start with you throwing up on somebody everything that has ever happened to you in your entire life. Vulnerability starts out in small conversations. My grandmother raised me. Oh, really? Yeah. Well, what happened to your mom? Yeah, she went up north to go get a job, or she left, the country to come and make a better life over here for us. And however you feel about that, right? However that person feels about that, whatever it is, right? And what happens is a lot of people think that vulnerability means I just got to open up, cut myself wide open, and let you come in and see all the parts of me. No. Vulnerability is a slow, methodical process where you begin to learn who the person is over time. You just don't throw up on the person because I think it would be a mistake to throw up on somebody. You don't know if you can trust them. So vulnerability starts with just slowly eking out things to see if a person has the capacity to hold you in that space. Because everybody doesn't have the capacity to hold you in that space. And you shouldn't even think that they do. But you sharing a story to see how they respond or react to you Because the very next question a woman might ask a man who says, oh, yeah, my grandma raised me, blah, 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 would be like, oh, so what was your mom doing? Right? They may ask you that. You say, oh, my mother was working. It's like, oh, so you pretty much stayed with your grandmother, right? How's you and your mother's relationship? Right? They would ask you that. Right. Thank you for the stars, sweetheart. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Right? So you slowly begin to let people into your life. You don't just throw up on people, because you may end up inadvertently getting hurt by throwing up on people, by talking too much. And people will have disdain for you without even really understanding why, to be honest with you. Because now you've given them too much and they might see you as weak. Because especially for men. But when women allow themselves to be open and vulnerable, it's seen differently. Because that's what we do. That's what we do. One of the things that we have to do, and this is for both men and women, is we have to stop justifying poor behavior in our relationships. Like when a person is showing you who they are and they don't have good intentions for you, like leave them alone. Matter of fact, let's do this. Run. Don't just leave them alone. Run. Like as fast as you can, getting out of there. The reason why I say this is because a lot of times more women than men will justify his poor behavior by saying things like, well, maybe I just need to give them time, to get to know me. Now, meanwhile, you've been talking to them for 3 months. They know you've been dating them for 3 months. They know whether or not they want to be in relationship with you. They know whether or not they want to take it to a different level. I'm not saying that everybody is in the same situation, because there are always mitigating circumstances. They're always mitigating. Everybody is different. Everybody, black people or black men and then black women, are not monoliths. It's not an across the board thing that I'm saying here. But what I am saying is that you, while you can accept sometimes what people are telling you about where they are, everybody does not deserve that same level of treatment and or understanding. Because there are some people that will tell you flat out, I do not want a relationship right now because of dot, 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 fill in the blank, right? And they're clear about that. And anything you do past that point, you have literally signed a waiver that you're going to ride this roller coaster ride and you don't care what happens on the other side. So if you get hurt, it's on you if you stay, because they've been clear, they've been concise. They realize that they're not ready or don't want a relationship. And what women tend to do is just overlook that little factoid. Like, if I give him my good, that's going to change his mind. It never has, and it never will. I don't care if you cooking dinner in a thong. If that man don't want to be with you, he is not going to be with you. That's his decision to make. He needs to love you. He needs to think a lot of you. He needs to respect you. He needs to honor you. Hear me. And I really mean that. And if he can't do that, if he cannot do that, then he's not it for you. And you can't justify bad behavior. You cannot continue to do that day after day after day or situation after situation. He doesn't show up. He told you he'd be there at 7. He doesn't show up. He doesn't call. He doesn't communicate anything to you, text or anything else. And you're saying, oh, well, maybe his dog dies, like, no, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No more excuses just trying to justify poor behavior from somebody. If you want a great relationship, you have to recognize the red flag. Another red flag is when you begin to prioritize their feelings, their emotions, what they're going through over and above your own needs. Now, the only reason why this might be a tad bit of a conundrum for me is because I am a servant. You know, I am a servant. I serve. If I'm gonna be in a relationship, all my friends will tell you I serve. If my friends need me to pick them up and take them to the doctor, I'm going to pick them up and take them to the doctor. If my friends tell me, Kim, I need, Kim, can you do this for me? Can you pick my daughter up from school? I'm going to go pick their daughter up from school if I can do it. If they say, Kim, can you meet me over here because I need to do that? I'm going to go meet them over there. And I have a lot of friends, and all of them don't call on me all the time. But when they call on me, I am there for them. I am a servant. So I don't have a problem with being there for other people or doing anything for anybody. But I also got the gift of no when I feel like people are overly using me. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Not this time. I love you though. You want me to see if I can send you a Uber? Or like, as if I'm busy, genuinely busy, and I'm in the middle of something, sometimes I can't do what I want to do for them. But because I have a servant's heart, right, and I want to be there for my friends because I love them, and my family too, right? But sometimes you got to have the gift of saying no and letting your no be no and your yes be yes, and not feeling any kind of way about it, right? But you have to prioritize your own needs. You can't make somebody else more important than you needing air to breathe. You understand? That's why they always say put the oxygen mask on your face first before you try to help anybody else. Yeah, you have to prioritize what's important to you. You have to honor you in order for other people to honor you, right? Because they're going to do to you what you do to yourself. They always going to do that. Another red flag is a genuine fear of being alone. And that's why we would be a people pleaser or try to do everything that everybody else wants us to be, right? Because you want somebody to be there for you, so you do the most for people because you always want somebody to be there for you. My life is very quiet and calm. Like, I don't need to be around anybody. I'm very comfortable in my own skin, actually. And I like my peace and my solace. I love my house being quiet. My kids are grown. I don't have no babies here. So if I feel like I want to make some noise and listen to music, I do. I do not have a fear of being alone. And I think that when you really sit down with that, I don't want to be by myself for the rest of my life, but I don't have a fear of being where I am because I feel like I am in a really good, healthy space in my life. I love where I am, and I also love who I am, and that makes a difference. Because I've done the work and I realize that everybody is not worthy of my time and out here in these streets. And once somebody does something to me or tries to, play me or something like that, I just don't bother with you no more. I don't need your company or your friendship. I'm quite good all alone by myself. I'm good. Thank you very much. And I like it like that. And no, it's not a trauma response because that might be what some people think. But it's not. It's just that I reserve my friendship, my love, and my peace and my joy is on reserve for those who are in my life who give me back what I give them. And we are we reciprocate each other's energy, if that makes any sense. Another red flag that I don't think people notice all the time is that you keep attracting the same type of person. And I think sometimes we don't recognize or realize that because nothing has changed from the last relationship to the next one, because there was no internal work being done, right? And I'm not saying this to make anybody feel bad, but after a breakup and with somebody that you really cared about and you loved and you enjoyed, and things went left, um, usually people ask themselves, like, what happened? That's one of the first questions. Like, I wonder why they acted like that or what happened or whatever. And you don't have to try to make nothing up to make yourself feel good, but you ask yourself this question so you can get better for the next time. You ask yourself the necessary questions so that you don't repeat the same behavior, so that you don't continue to attract the same type of person. But I usually say this: water seeks its own level. And when I'm not loving myself, and when I wasn't, let me say that, when I wasn't loving myself, it was no wonder that I was meeting some of the people that I was meeting and allowing what I was allowing in my life. Because I wasn't full 10 toes down in honoring me. I talked a good game, but I wasn't actively participating in the 10 toes down thing, because they wouldn't even been in my circumference or in my square. And that's the truth. And it took me a long time to learn what I was doing wrong, because back then I didn't have a coach. I didn't have a therapist, right? At some point I had a therapist, but I didn't have a coach. So I wasn't expediting my healing in any kind of way. But that's why I do what I do, to help people to expedite it, because it's a real thing. It's a real thing. It takes you a long time when you're sitting by yourself and you don't have anybody else to bounce ideas off of. So you think you're the best thing since sliced bread, and you don't understand that you're the problem. And that's my testimony. It wasn't anybody else. It was me. I was the one who opened the door. I was the one who co-signed. I was the one who got on the roller coaster ride and said, "Oh, okay, I'm going to go for the ride." Yeah, if I get hurt, oh well, so sad, too bad for me. That doesn't sound like love. That doesn't look like love. When I start valuing other people more than I value myself, just to get a crumb off of their table, there was something innately wrong with that from the gate. And I don't know why it took me so long to get it. And I'm telling you this, I'm going back 20 years, but that's not the point. That's not the point. It was a process to even get to the point where I was 10 toes down in this thing and saying, absolutely not. And when I started honoring me, when I started to understand that I was the culprit in my own life, and I said, Kim, you got to reverse this thing. Okay, so we're not doing any of that anymore. Like when I started being emphatic, when I started saying, no, that doesn't align with my values. It took me a minute to figure out what my values, my core values were, right? It wasn't easy. It was not easy. But that's why I do what I do. I help people to expedite the process. And some things cannot be expedited because you can't skip over steps. You've got to go through the steps to get to the place of healing and self awareness, and then self confidence, right? And honoring who you are and how you show up and what you want and what you need for your life. Which brings me to my next one: self awareness and self worth. When we are self aware, right, we realize that the things that we do or the things that we allow are not outside of us. We don't get to change other people, but we do get to change ourselves. And when we begin to take responsibility for what's happening in our lives, that's when we begin to take our power back. But you cannot get to the place of taking your power back or taking responsibility for your life if you are not self aware of what you do and why you do it, which is attached to your self worth. It comes down to valuing yourself enough to walk away from anything that no longer serves you. And I know that a lot of us struggle with this because sometimes it's just hard to walk away because you're leaving behind things, people, sometimes things. Your entire lifestyle can change if you're in a relationship and you got into the relationship at the point of you not valuing yourself or seeing exactly what was going on in your life, and paying attention to what you co-signed, right? Because at the time you didn't know you became a co-signer to foolishness. And now as you become self-aware, you begin to own your part, but you also begin to get to get an exit strategy, right? You also then begin to work on yourself. And once you know something, you can't unknow it. You can't unknow it. Like I know certain things and I can't unknow what I know. And I understand it, and I understand the value and the weight of the things that I do. That's why I try my best, and I really mean this, to always stay with the posture of taking responsibility for what I do and what I've done. And I sit with myself to figure out how I can become better, a better person, a more loving person, and at the same time, while serving, honoring who I am and what I want and need for my life. And the only reason why I do that is because I am self aware and because I do take responsibility for everything that happens in my life. That's how I heal. That's where my real power comes from. It is in my ownership of what I do. And it's the minute I've done that every single time, I gain my power, even more power and more confidence and more self confidence, like across the board. The other red flag is boundaries. When a person does not respect your boundaries, and you, for whatever reason, are okay with that, that's a red flag. It's not them, it's you. Your boundaries are your standards for your life. And when you set your boundaries, it's because you had to, because first of all, people are crazy disrespectful. But once again, they're only doing what you allowed them to do. And so if we're going to be clear about anything, we got to know what our non-negotiables are, be prepared to walk away from anything that does not serve us, and be 10 toes down in our boundaries and in our standards for our lives. You want to change your life? Set up some boundaries. You want to change what you do? Begin to hold yourself to the same standards that you set for everybody else. Don't let yourself get away with not treating you good. Never mind anybody else. And I probably talked about this already, but I want to talk about it again. Consistency, not confusion. If you're with somebody and all they do is try to dog you out, confuse you, talk about you, um, make you feel bad about who you are, and they're confusing you, or it's difficult, or it's really hard to get along with them, yeah, you probably need to not be with that person. You probably need to not do that because relationships are supposed to be consistent. They're supposed to be a safe place, a place where you feel valued and respected and loved and admired for who you are. So if a person is not or does not have that posture with you and who you are, and they insist upon dogging you out or insist upon not showing up for you in the ways in which you show up for them or that you need them to show up for you, your love language, not theirs, then that's something that you should be paying attention to. You should definitely be paying attention to the types of relationships you have because relationships are not meant to be confusing at all. They're supposed to be loving, generous, kind, a place where you feel safe, valued, respected, and you can see the person's efforts and intentions towards you. Always, not sometimes. When you're talking about romantic relationships, that's an always type of a situation. And when you have that as your standard, the reality is if you have that as your standard, right? Guess what happens? When somebody falls short of that, you're going to know immediately because you're paying attention to what people are doing and not doing. Why would someone want to be with someone who does not value them, who does not respect them, who does not honor them? And this is for men and for women. Why would you want to hang out with them? Why would you want to make them a priority? Why would you want them to be in your life? That's not on them. That's not on them. That's on you. And that's the truth. I know that in our youth, we make a lot of mistakes trying to navigate our way through this life. I know we do. But you're not the same person anymore, and you don't have to tolerate that from anybody anymore. And you are fully autonomous human being, and you know the difference between when somebody loves you and truly desires you to be in their lives. You know what it is. And if you don't know what it is, then it's time to figure that out. Because can I tell y'all, I'm going to tell y'all this, and I really mean this. I don't want to die alone. I also am not going to settle. I want to live out the rest of my days with my husband, happy, laughing, joking, and acting a fool, and taking our occasional vacations somewhere. I mean, I think everybody wants somebody that they can lean on and depend on, somebody who's got their back. And everything that I named tonight, and as it pertains to red flags, and if y'all watch this on the replay, hashtag replay for me. But everything that I named this evening is the very thing that you need to look out for. Because a person who values you would never try to give you red flags or give you red flags. Because they're going to know that you it for them almost immediately. And I don't mean like in an hour, I'm talking about after you've spent some time together. They're going to recognize your value, who you are, your worth. And you don't have to do cartwheels and flips for that. And that's the truth. So I'm saying all that I'm saying to you because we can't just keep skipping over the red flags in people. Because if all they want to do is have sex and you want to have sex too, everybody grown, do what you do. But don't expect more when you didn't ask for more, when you didn't require more. Because that's a problem. And then sometimes you get mad because they didn't give you what you didn't ask for or what you didn't require. Recognize the red flags. And honestly, don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself. You can have a healthy relationship. You can meet the person of your dreams. You can have the love that you desire. But are you setting yourself up? Hi, Jessica. I see you. Good evening. Good evening. But are you setting yourself up for a great relationship? Or are you ignoring the red flags that are right in front of you? And it could be any one of them, or it could be seven or eight of them. And sometimes just because we want to have some closeness with somebody, we'll see all of them red flags and be like, oh, and throw them right, throw them right out the window. Yeah, but we had a good time at dinner. Yeah, but they cute. Yeah, but for guys, yeah, but she got a fatty. Like really, really, dude, really, it's not worth a quarter. You know what I mean? And no shade to nobody, but we all do it. And men do it. And that's why when they get hurt, they go running into their cave and they never come back out. Women, we built to endure. We built to go through it. Like we will get back up and go meet somebody and do it again, right? And try it again because we looking for love. And sometimes we don't have the criteria in our own minds for the love that we seek. And the truth is that's why sometimes fall short. Because there are some wonderful and amazing men out here that are single, but you can't help them to come up out of that hole that they're in if they don't want to be in a relationship. You got to keep it moving and look for. Hey, Tony, I see you, my love. How are you? I'm so glad to see you. Tony, I'm going to send you my phone number because I need to talk to you, sissy. I'm going to send you my phone number. I got to talk to you. Yes, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you. Yes, 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 yes. So, yeah, we have to be clear. We have to be crystal clear about what we really want. And we got to stand in that. And don't move because he cute. Because there's some fine brothers out here, they'll be worth a quarter. They don't be worth a quarter, but they fine, nice tall glasses of water. You like half, but they ain't worth nothing. They don't want nothing. They don't want what you want. They just want to hit it and quit it. That's what they want. And the reality is like it's about sex for a lot of men. But as they're getting older, some of them are ready to settle down. But still wouldn't settle down unless he treated me like a queen. Every day he'd be like, Your Highness. No, I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But he would have to treat me extremely well because it's not happening. It's not happening. Because I love me some me. I promise you I do. I don't even like being around people. And I'm saying this, I don't even like to be around people who don't have a standard. Matter of fact, none of my friends, nobody I really talk to, they all are like cream of the crop type people. Because people who don't have anything to lose are not the people that you want to be around. The people who are reckless in their own lives are not the people that you want to be around. You want to be around people who are upwardly mobile, who are doing nice and wonderful things and enjoying, like you don't want to be around basic people. I never want to be around basic people. But anywho, I'm glad that y'all stayed with me all of this time. This was so dope. This was so dope. I just want to say, I think I'm gonna go over on TikTok and go live on TikTok. I love my TikTok. Let me tell y'all, I'm loving it. I'm loving it in them TikTok streets. But I'm having a Unlocking Your Love workshop March the 8th at Platterish Park. Um, okay, Stephen, what you say? Wait a minute, baby. Let me look at your thing. Platterish Park on March the 8th from 12 to 4. It's a luncheon, a buffet luncheon. It is going to be absolutely amazing. And I got to sell some more tickets to this event. And If I don't, I might have to cancel it. And I don't want to do that. But they asked, because it is a catering hall, that I have a minimum amount of seats, right? And while I've sold a lot of tickets, I may have to refund if I don't get the minimum amount, right? And there's no tickets that are being sold at the door, right? So I would love for y'all to come out and be a part of this Unlocking Your Love workshop. It is going to be a blessing to all who attend. I am ready for y'all. Y'all do not want to miss this. Y'all really do not want to miss this. I'm going to have vendors coming as well. So, yes, this is going to be absolutely amazing. And I'm excited about it. I just got to sell some more tickets. So, if I've sent you the flyer, you see it on my wall, share it with your friends. See if your friends want to come with you. It's $97 because this is not at an EOC, it is at a very nice catering hall. And the food is really good as well. But it's going to be an afternoon of events, and I'm sure that it is going to benefit you in ways that you can't even imagine. Listen, I love y'all like I love me some cooked food. I promise y'all I do. Steven, let me read your comment. Wait a minute. Let me put it up on the screen so I can see it better. Hold on. What red flags do we look for in our significant other's best friends and involvement in their lives? And how it may affect the relation? That's a really, really good question. Because you know what happens, Stephen? What happens is you can see things that other people can't see outside looking in. And you might see some serious character flaws in somebody else. But here's the caveat to that. They have to figure that out themselves. You have to let a situation come up where it ruffles their feathers, and you say, I wonder if that's your friend. Because why would they do that to you? Because the minute you start protesting anybody's friend, and like, well, they was here before you, and I knew them since I was 7, and you can't tell me not to be friends with them. So it's not even, it's just something that you have to observe from the perspective of caring for your partner. But we really don't get to tell them, like, that their homegirl is toxic, that you saw them, doing something crazy. And, because grown people want to do what grown people do. I don't hang out with people that are toxic, though. Like, if I notice something about your character, I'm out of there. I'm serious. And I will tell you off because I do not play, right? Because while I'm not perfect, like, in other words, Stephen, let me say this to you. I used to work at I used to work at the job, right? And all the girls would hang out with all the guys on a certain, like, on a weekend, right? And I got wind that the girls was doing wild stuff with the guys, right? I heard about it. I said, "Oh," I took note. The next time they invited me out, I said, "Oh no, I gotta go home." And I would not go out with them again. I'm not judging you. I'm just not associating myself with that, right? So you could do whatever you want to do. But what I'm not doing is being associated with that. Back in the day when I was young and I used to go to this club in Brooklyn called the lab was so dope for a long time. But then I started noticing that the women were coming in with like, the women were coming in with like fishnet bodysuits on with no panties and no bras and maybe pasties over and maybe a thong or something. I stopped going to the lab because I don't associate with that. Like when it was popping and people were coming in there and they was dressed normally and all that stuff, I don't want to be a party to all of that because I'm not like them. And it was okay for me to go out and dance and have a good time. And I was younger then, before I really got into the church, heavy. I mean, I was raised in the church all my life, but I was, out there for a minute. I I wouldn't even hang out with them. I mean, I would not go to places where I saw that the behavior was risque from the women because then the men would think that all the women that hang out in that spot are the same, and I'm not. And so I covet myself. I don't do everything everybody else does, and I also don't get to tell other people what to do. They got to learn for themselves who the people are that are around them. And they have to have a standard. And I was young and hanging out, and I was still wilding a little bit. But the point is, certain things I just wasn't doing. And I didn't even want to be around that. I was like, what? She in here. And I used to be up in the DJ booth, which was high up, you know, and I would be looking down because one of my girlfriends dated the guy who was the DJ. And I would be looking down and I would be like, what in the world? She ain't got no clothes on. It was like she was butt naked. I said, okay, I've had enough. And I was like, I'm not coming. And I never went back, because even back then, when I was partying all the time, it was certain things I just would not do. I had a standard for my life, even back then. And I'm not saying everybody got to do what I do. Everybody get to do whatever they want to do. This is what Kim did. And when I realized that I don't get to tell other people what to do, that was the best thing that I could have ever learned in my entire life. I don't get to control anybody but me. And I associate with who I want to associate with. And when they violate our relationship, I know what to do from there. And that's the truth. That is the truth. Stephen, I'm going to tell you something. I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. I thank you for knowing that sometimes I'll be talking to the sisters, and I think that you are so dope because you understand that I'm not talking about, you. If I say something about men, and men get they get like they be like, oh, you offensive to men. I'm like, no, only if the shoe fits, right? And you rock with me. You really do rock with me, and I miss seeing you, around, right? You said, what happens when you see the toxic friend having negative influences on your partner? How do we contain ourselves without overreacting? By understanding the very principle that you don't get to tell anybody else what to do. This is this is something that I wish more people knew. We get to. And if you put that, if you say I have to versus I get to, it changes the lens through which you look, right? I get to support my partner even when she's around people who are negative. I get to say to my partner, that was kind of negative. Like, why is she negative? What's wrong? What happened in her childhood or whatever? I get to open up dialogue to to plant seeds to see if my partner understands the behavior that's coming from their friend. I get to. I get to show up and be a sounding board for my partner when they get disappointed or hurt because they don't even realize how negative their friend is and how toxic they are. I get to share with my partner stories of how I was around toxic people to help them perhaps see that they too are being toxic. You don't have to do anything. You get to show up in support of your partner. You get to. And that's a blessing because and if you, here's the opposite. Like our kids, if we overreact to our kids and what they tell us, they stop talking to us because they believe that we're against them. You don't want to create that environment. You want to create a safe space for them to be able to have dialogue with you. Yes. So you get to be the support for your partner. And no matter how crazy, how foolish, whatever it is that you see, you get to be the voice of reason, and you get to support them in whatever it is that they're going through, but you do not get to tell people what to do. I hope that covers that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love y'all like some cooked food. I promise y'all I do. I am about to jump off here and run on over to them TikTok streets in a few minutes. And thank y'all for listening. I hope y'all can support. You do, Stephen. You really, see, I love that. I love that. I really do. I love that you get it because everybody doesn't get that. Like, but Kim, but what if? I'm like, and what if? What if? What if? What if they learned the most valuable lesson that they were ever supposed to learn, and all they could do is lean on you because you've been their support system? And part of the reason why I say this, Stephen, and I really mean this, is because sometimes we have control issues. And when we feel out of control, we will try to control. But we have to be fair. And we have to let people have their own experiences. Our kids, our siblings, the people that are around us, our friends. We got to let them have their experiences. Because the reality is when they learn it for themselves, it's a lesson that is mind blowing. And all you want to do is the place that they recluse to when their heart is broken. You don't want anybody, your kids or anybody else, seeing you as opposition. Because you're not. You love them and you want what's best for them. But sometimes what's best for them is to learn their lessons the hard way, the way we had to learn them. And we don't get to control when that happens. So the more I surrender myself, the more I let go, the better I am. Because I'm not trying to control any narrative. I'm going to let you see. And life is one of the best teachers organically. Yeah. Y'all have an awesome night. Y'all be blessed here.